everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Wishing everyone a happy Thursday as it is January 6th. We are into the second episode of 2022, and this episode does not hold back on the awesomeness, I'm not going to lie. So before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors first, Phoenix Fitness. It is New Year's resolution time once again. Of course, the most popular one is to get in shape, to go to the gym, to be strong like Arnold. Yeah, get to the chopper. That's not the tumor. Chop it up and get it out of here. Okay, I'm probably going to get demonetized for that, if I was monetized in the first place, but you're going to want to make sure that, you're constantly hitting the gym, getting into the, that whole entire style of working out, even if you're working out at home, just basically, lifting the weights, doing all the good stuff, hitting the cardio, treadmill, elliptical, bike, run machine, swim class, aerobics class, whatever it might be. But you're going to want to end up maximizing and achieving those fitness goals. So you're going to want to prepare right, you're going to want to recover right, do all that stuff right. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in with many different supplements, such as pre-workouts, both Sim and Sim Free, to help get your workout kickstarted and get the most out of it. I use the Sim Free stuff because, well, I'm already crazy enough as it is. Could you imagine me on all those caffeine stimulants and stuff? Hell no, I don't need them. B-Cell recovery compounds said for you to take after your workout in order to maximize on the intake of stuff like protein, such as they have proteins for AM, PM, and directly after your workout. They've got creatines to help you out with that as well. They have different multivitamins. Anything you might need to achieve your fitness goals, Phoenix Fitness has for you. So our listeners get 15% use the code MSOTD at fnxfit.com. Link trip to the podcast. Second sponsor is from Custom Debut. So, I mean, you guys see, of course, all the crazy stuff on the walls at different points when I do different things for the podcast. You've seen videos with the Kevin's Crappy Flute videos, with the smaller posters up there with Rise Against, 36 Mars, and Throw the Fight. I've got bigger posters up here with Ice Nine Kills, Rise Against, Falling in Reverse, and not Ice Nine Kills, again, Rise Against once again. And what Custom Debuts is, they create custom posters for you around anything in music. So you give them a band, you give them an album, they'll create a custom poster for you off of that album. And you give them a song instead, what they're going to do is they're going to take that song and put the lyrics on a poster for you in any crazy way to really make those lyrics stand out. And when they send you the proof of what they have an idea for you within 48 hours, you have unlimited edits. You have a limited amount of times you can go back and be like, hey, I want to get this on. This is the change I want to see. I want to make this mine. And they'll come back, and when you're satisfied, you hit the OK button. They'll send you the poster of your creation in either classic poster paper kind of style, aluminum print, what the hell? Yeah, I said that. And of course, the canvas print. So you can make anybody in your music world incredibly happy as a gift, or make them incredibly jealous because you got the coolest poster around. Our listeners get 10% with the code CPP10 at checkout for Custom Debuts. Thank Custom Debuts. Now, when it comes to this podcast, you guys know I love those North Carolina bands, especially those in those Eastern North Carolina scene, where I consider that basically that is one of the best local scenes out there. And this band is a part of that as well. We've had Chris from To Begin Anew recently on the podcast, as he is one of their their latest guitarists. He also has a band called Death Uriah that he's been in much longer. And now Death Uriah is on the podcast, and we talk about how Death Uriah grew during the pandemic through the North Carolina Metal Fans page on Facebook. We talk about Jimfest. You're going to want to know about Jimfest, the coolest idea for a regional festival, local festival you'll ever hear. And some of the funniest stories you're going to hear once again. North Carolina bands and fans, this is another one for you to love in the metal scene. Please welcome Death Uriah to the podcast. Are you ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You guys know I've had many different members of that Eastern North Carolina rock and metal scene on the podcast. There's been someone on this podcast that's on here today, Mr. Chris, the guitarist for this band. He was on with To Begin Anew back in 2021, and now this other band that he's a part of, they've been part of for a lot longer. We're going to have him on the podcast as well. So please welcome George, Chris, Matt, and Brian from the band Death of Uriah. So guys, welcome to the podcast. And Chris, welcome back.
Thanks for having us, Kevin.
Well, thanks for being on, guys. How's everything going? We're just at the end of 2021, going into 2022. How's everything on your end so far, getting into the new year?
A1, kick ass. It's been a fucking awesome year, dude.
It has been a bitchin' year.
Yeah, we've had more shows under our belt this year, which is ironic because I used to be the hater of shows. But then after COVID and it felt illegal, I was like, we got to play as many fucking shows as we possibly can. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a really, really good year for us. Got our second EP release this year. Did a music video for that. I did two. Jaden filmed the first one, and then I filmed the second one for The Void. And great response, man. And, of course, you know, the camaraderie with all the other bands around here. It's still kicking like it always has.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll say, and I mean, I've been hearing a lot more of it kicking even more, especially because we've had other bands on the podcast here. Chris had you on with To Begin Anew. Also been continuing to talk to the guys from like Waking Terra, and it's just seeing the fact that this Eastern North Carolina scene just keeps getting talked about more and more and more. It really does show that camaraderie that everyone has together, the support everyone has together, to the point where I'm kind of a little jealous about it because I want to go out and see some of these live shows around where you guys are, so I can really get the full experience of this scene in a completely different light than I'm getting, you know, where I am around like the Milwaukee, going down to Chicago for shows, going to like the Rockford area, going out to Madison, Wisconsin. Like, I kind of want to see what your guys' scene is really like, because the way that it's being talked about from so many different bands, it seems like the tightest knit scene and just like the most family oriented scene locally inside the United States.
And it's about to get even crazier because January 21st and the 20th, is it the 20th and the 21st?
21st and 22nd.
21st and 22nd. I'm hosting the second annual Jimfest here. And right now I can announce, well, by the time this comes out, everybody will be there, but it's us, Defile the Crown, Wake and Terror, To Begin Anew, Lilac, Bridge to Breakdown, Nova Omega. We're actually bringing in bands from the western part of the state to come here to kind of experience exactly what you're talking about. And I know Cody mentioned bringing your ass down here. We need to like crowdfund that and get you down here for a fucking week so we can show you how North Carolina.
Yeah, dude, we do.
When you was talking about that, that's what I was thinking. I was like, he needs to come to fucking Jimfest if he wants to see the whole scene.
Yeah, but we'll be going live for that as well. So.
Well, you said Jimfest is when? The 21st and the 22nd?
Yep, January 21st and 22nd.
Well, shit, that's right in between the time when I'm supposed to be going to two shows I've been really looking forward to. So I could kind of just potentially, if money is right and if it makes it happen, I could try and fly down there Friday morning so I could spend that Friday night and all that Saturday there for Jimfest and really take part the whole scene. I'll see what we can make. I'll see what we can do because, well, we'll see what happens after Christmas. We'll see what kind of money rolls in after that.
Yeah, holidays are always an ass whip, man.
Yes, dude.
And this holiday for me is, well, especially with seeing how many like tours are being dropped. And like Chris, you're saying where you kind of the guy that was not really into shows and now all of a sudden you guys are playing as many shows as possible. For us fans, seeing all these different tours that have been dropping for 2022, my credit card statement literally just says like, is like Ticketmaster, e-tix. I'm just like, yep, this keeps happening. There goes all my money, but fucking worth it, man.
Yeah, dude.
I did the opposite of what everybody thought I was going to do. When COVID was over, like I took full advantage of COVID. I'm not going to lie. I was like, well, cool, we get a break. We wrote really killer music. And then before that, we were playing like one show every month or every other month. After COVID, I joined another band, played with this band twice as much. And then, of course, you know, the other boys, they gig just as much as we do. So, I mean, I've burned it at both fucking ends, but it's been awesome.
I love a break, but I got to catch up.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was running behind at that point. So I had to just go all in, man.
Had to go all in. Instead of, I feel like burning the candle like both ends, it probably felt like you broke the candle in half and literally lit both halves at each end because, I mean, with you, Chris, going into Begin Anew as well, having that part of it, but then with Death Uriah, really amping that up in the process as well so that with the rest of 2021, once, you know, tours were able to really come back, live shows were able to be coming back full force and not necessarily be full on, well, illegal, but still have that weird feeling of like, it's still weird COVID time, taking full advantage of that. That is something that it's just, yeah, go full force into it because I've seen a lot of bands that have gone full force into that. A lot of them are really starting to pick up traction, specifically in their local markets, which is going to be even better for them when they go and try and tour a little bit more outside those local markets because you have this base to work with. Like, hey, look at how many people are showing up to support us when we go and play these shows. We can bring that same energy. We can potentially bring that same level of crowd participation and crowd involvement and crowd size to your local venue.
Yeah. Oh, I'm burning it big time. Like, I'll give you an idea. This week, Monday night, practice with To Begin Anew. Tuesday night, these guys, which is typically when we practice every Tuesday. And then Thursday, I got a show with To Begin Anew. Like, I see my wife like 2 nights a week. That's it.
He's with the bands more than he's with his wife, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. But it's been all worth it because this weird twist of fate happened between me being involved with To Begin Anew and then my brothers in Death of Uriah, because I don't know if you've been following the DWP thing at all, but they've got their own Twitch channel. Well, To Begin Anew's been on there twice now. These boys jumped on a whim last night, and I was out there in the middle of nowhere and couldn't do anything about it, and kicked ass on it last night without me even being a part of it. And it's cool because, like I said, with the camaraderie that everybody has in this scene between the bands that you mentioned and the bands that we're friends with, we're all pushing everybody's shit out now. It's not like it was where it was competitive. I think I mentioned that in the other interview too. Like, we're all working together at this point.
Yeah. There's like 5 bands from right here on that channel last night.
Yeah.
Liam mentioned at the same time.
Yep.
I have been paying attention to that because not only has that, like, Eastern North Carolina scene, like with To Begin Anew with Death Uriah, with, I think, Hollow Intent might have been part of something like that as well on one of those DWP Twitch streams. I'm seeing a lot of the bands that I've had in the podcast and a lot from that North Carolina scene really be a part of that and start making a lot of waves going even further and further. And it's something I absolutely love seeing because it puts more of a national attention on what you guys are doing, because now everyone from around the United States, even the world, that are tuning in the DWP stuff can see what you guys are doing, can listen to your music, can, get exposed to it. And all of a sudden, you guys keep moving on. It's every band. They're moving on at least once because of the support from every other band that's in the scene, plus all the fans in that scene as well, and other fans from other places where that just straight up like your music. It's something that you're really seeing the power of the scene that you guys cultivated in that area really show just how incredible it is, how supportive it is, and how it's going to end up pushing every single band that really is a part of it to completely new heights.
Yeah, but it takes a special group of people to make that happen, because I've said it before, if it wasn't for these guys in this room here, nobody would have even known who I was. I was ready to hang it up, man. And that's what a lot of people miss. Like, during COVID, it's amazing the bands that didn't make it out. Yeah. They just decided, we're done. We're going to quit. Every Tuesday, 7:30 religiously, we met at the practice spot every Tuesday, unless it was just something astronomical that we couldn't handle. The whole time we were experiencing COVID, To Begin Anew was writing songs. They used that to their advantage, and then we took our style and just went heavier. If you do like the Pantera comparison, if you listen to Terminal Vices, that's okay. But if you listen to the new one we just put out, Pedalwood, that one goes so much harder, and you can feel it because we had the time to invest into that EP that we did not have on Terminal Vices.
Yep.
That does make a lot of sense.
I'm sorry about it.
No, go ahead.
With Chris, man, a lot of this stuff, I mean, the scene was getting pretty good notice, but Chris went on the North Carolina metal page when the COVID thing first all started down.
Here we go.
No, this is part of this though, because seriously, like, the scene it was getting attention, but it really didn't get attention until that started. When they were trying to boycott all the bands that wanted to try to play out, and dude, he stepped the hell up with it, man.
Oh, I went after everybody.
Yeah.
There's a metal page called NC Metal. This is a little bit of a long story, but it's worth it. So I'll try and condense it. So, I was totally against doing shows during like the height of the pandemic. But the problem is that height kept moving. So you had two sides. You had people that were like, people want to get the fuck out of the house and go do something.
Yes.
You had the other side that was like, well, we gotta wait. And you would have a bunch of trolls stirring the pot. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go right down the middle. There was a kid that was just came out of nowhere and started challenging people to riff wars and shit like that. And I was like, watch me do what the fuck I'm about to do. So he's like, play my song. So I had my wife pretend to suck my dick at the beginning of the video. And then all of a sudden, I just started riffing after that. And next thing I know, fucking NC Metal is on fire.
It was,
this page has like 6,000 people on it. And they're like, this guy is a fucking maniac. And next thing I know, my fucking face is being put on shit. And
seriously,
it was weird. So
there was a band too. Don't forget the band.
Yeah. And so like a lot of the people that I know now, Matt's right, like Nova Omega and all those guys stemmed from the war that happened on NC Metal. And that one video got me kicked off of Facebook for 7 days. I got banned from NC Metal. And then I got brought back to NC Metal and became a moderator of the same fucking page. Yeah.
Dude,
because I was the only one that would, at the time, like there was like, 10 or 11 of us that would go against, like we would just fight the trolls the best we could. And I mean, the trolls had a good side of their opinion too, but like I'm the type of person, like I can't really lose my job because like I own part of it. So I was like, fuck these assholes. They're sitting there behind their fucking computers,
keyboard warriors.
They've got to worry about a boss breathing down their neck. Nobody's really standing up to these fuckers. I post a fucking 1.5-minute video of me getting domed off in the beginning doing a riff war, and people are like, this motherfucker is insane. And I'm like, yep, well, I don't give a shit. I got banned, thrown off the page, and then asked to come back to the page, and then got added as a moderator to the page.
Turned into a meme, turned into a t-shirt, turned into a fucking flyer for an event.
Yeah, I got it. Jay made me a sticker of my face. It's this big that's going on my trailer. Yeah. And it all came out of spite. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going after everybody.
We wanted to be on that list, man. We wanted to be on that list.
Yeah, I don't know if that was actually mentioned, but the whole shit stemmed off of they had this blacklist.
Don't call it a blacklist. It wasn't a blacklist. It was a Google.
Well, to blackball people was what they were
this
doing
guy made a COVID list, and he's like, these are the bands that played during COVID, shit like that. And a lot of bands took that in a negative light because, it did look bad on people that they were playing shows in the height of a pandemic. But the problem is that when NC Metal saw it, every anonymous user who saw that was immediately like, these bands will never play again. And I was like, fuck it, I want on that list now.
I never go to shows, but I'm going to ruin your career.
Yeah, pretty much what they try to do. And I mean, there's a couple bands that you've interviewed that have been on that list, and I'm not going to name names, but like I went up there, I was like, can we get added to the list even though we didn't play? Because I want to be on that side of the fence. So when y'all have to eat shit on the other side of it, we can say that we were a part of that. But they wouldn't put us on it, so I put that fucking video up instead. And then I made another video of some asshole from NC Metal walking in my room, and I mixed up some like mellow yellow and orange pulp, and it looked like piss, and I made it look like a piss bottle. I was like, get out of my fucking room, Mom. I mean, it got fucking bad, dude. I mean, people got really pissed off at me, but I feel like the people that were on my side, they were in the majority because all those people that had my back, they're playing shows now.
Yeah.
All the people that were against it, their bands are no longer together, or they never had a band to begin with.
Yeah, I was about to say most of them were people that probably didn't work and they were living in their mom's basement.
Yeah,
just like the video.
So I made a parody video about that shit.
You guys shouldn't be playing there.
I got shit, man. I got death threats. One guy doxed me, and I was like, "Come on."
Yeah, that page went national. There were a lot of people posting from outside of fucking North Carolina, like, I got to find out what. Yeah.
I'm not from North Carolina, but can I come in?
It got wild, man.
Shit, I should have been a part of that page during that time because I would have been sitting there just thinking, what the fuck is actually going on? This is absolutely insane. And I would have had you on the podcast sooner because I would have seen them and like, I need to have these guys on because this is absolutely ridiculous, but this is so much fun.
It was all out fucking war, and I didn't give a fuck. And I didn't ask permission from nobody. I was like, I don't give a fuck if I get fired from any band. This was way before I was in my other band, but like these guys don't give a shit. Like
he sent the video to us, and
we were dying.
I know I personally dropped my phone like 8 feet to the ground from where I was at, laughing so fucking
hard. I was like, we're going in, dude. And then of course I caught shit for another video I just did, that one where I did the parody video of that one brass band that pissed on the guy on the stage. I don't know if you saw that video or not, but that shit spread like wildfire. And I haven't gotten reached out.
If you haven't seen it, you need to see it.
Didn't you catch a band like a 24-hour for that?
No, we just put it on the band page. It's on the band page.
That's right.
Yeah.
I actually did catch that video when I saw that one. I'm just thinking, this is this is like, I'm like, what the fuck is this? But also, this makes sense when it's coming from Chris because I don't know. I'm like, this just makes sense. It was after we did the interview with To Begin Anew, so I'm like, I kind of already know like where the mindset like this makes sense. And then I've had some even crazy stuff happen too off of that where there was one interview I did. It was basically me and this one band. We just did a story time basically, and their stories were ridiculous. We brought up a whole entire piss story thing. Turns out that no, it wasn't Waking Terror this time. This was a different one. This is a different band. And the guitarist of the band tells me, he's like, yeah, I'm kind of glad you didn't go like in like the Brass Against Piss style stuff. I'm like, well, why are you kind of glad I didn't go into it? It's like, that's my sister. I'm just like, oh. It's like, whoops. Good thing I didn't like bring it up. And then we talked about that for like 10 minutes afterwards.
So the singer is his sister?
Yeah.
Make sure that he sees my video. Because I get shit on in mine.
I mean, yours might end up turning more like of a 2 Girls 1 Cup parody at this point.
Yep. But people got the message, but I made sure I never dropped the band name. I didn't want to be that guy. Because, I mean, what they did was fucking punk rock as hell. But the problem is that it's 2021.
Yeah.
And there were children in the crowd.
If it was 96, that shit would have flown perfectly fine. But in 2021, right after COVID, you pissing on a whole man's face, like people don't really like that.
Not a half a man.
What a fucking
whole man.
GoPro on his fucking
Not gonna lie though, because I was even taking a look at it as well. Just I've been talking to some people even about that. Where that is punk rock as hell. I totally understand. I totally understand why people are just like freaked out because it is 2021. I also say this though, as time goes on, that's gonna end. The perception around that is gonna be the same perception or a similar perception of like Ozzy biting the head off a bat because it's just so out there. It's so ridiculous. But the fact of the matter is you think about when Ozzy first bit the head off a bat. People were freaked out, Moms Against Metal or whatever the hell like crazy group it was, whatever Al Gore's wife's group was that wanted it. Like they freaked out, and all of a sudden you think about it now, and it's like that is like an iconic moment for rock and metal is Ozzy biting the head off a bat. Go like 10, 15 years in the future, that's gonna be a moment that people are gonna be like, fuck yeah, that's a moment right there.
Well, it's just like, you remember when they started putting the parental advisory things on the CDs? And then Nikki Sixx came forward. He's like, this is the best fucking thing you could have ever done.
Make it better.
Because now the kids are going to want to buy this shit, even if they have to get permission from the parents, versus the stuff that's just regular, because now there's a warning with it. Yeah. So it's kind of like the same
danger.
Thing. Yeah.
Put that shit
I'm not signing up to go on stage with a brass band, but I'm just saying, I get it.
Yeah, and like when Nikki Sixx said that too, because I haven't looked at it thinking the people that the people they're trying to like prevent from listening to that are kids and teenagers. And what do kids and teenagers do when their parents tell them to do something? They want to do the exact opposite.
Yeah. Especially today. Holy hell.
Yeah. Tell them one thing, they do the complete opposite.
Yep.
Should tell them to like, okay, you guys should keep listening to all like the same music you are. They're gonna be like, oh fuck no, we're gonna start listening to rock and metal a lot more, and be like, gotcha.
This stuff has cussing. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's like if you like cussing, check this out, and all of a sudden show the Brass Against video. There's gonna be a bunch of teens that are like, what the hell? Oh my god! All of a sudden, like 2 hours later, they're gonna be watching over and over again because they can't get enough of it.
Imagine being like 15 years old and watching that video and it waking something up inside of you that you didn't know was there. I mean, that's how we stumble on shit all the time, Wake me up.
Please.
Yeah. You're talking to your girlfriend, you're 25 years old, you're like, listen, when I was 15, I was at this rock show. I'm going to ask you to try something. Don't think I'm fucking weird. I'm going to lay on my back and I want you to just squat piss on me. That's how it happens.
Like straight horse.
Yeah.
Horse piss.
Yeah.
That was not normal.
No, that was, but Chris, I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from, because even in a different aspect of that, like for myself, where like when I'm playing soccer, because I'll still play now, it's like there's times where I'll tell my teammates just literally like throw a shoulder into me before we start playing. Like, why the hell do you want them? Like, I love going to concerts. I love going into mosh pits, and they get me energized as all hell. It's just like from that first hit, I'm just like, it's go time. And I'm never afraid to even like go after, some of the big guys that'll try and like throw me all the way across the pit. try and throw me, like literally have me fly back and just land flat on the floor. I'm never afraid to go after him after the first hit. I'm like, just someone shoulder check me. All of a sudden, one of my friends will come out of nowhere, blindside shoulder check me. I'll follow around. He's like, "You good?" "Yep, we're good." And I'm set. It's the weirdest thing, but it's kind of similar to that where something woke up inside of me when I first experienced that. I'm just like, I got to get more of this.
Yeah, you get it. See, George has a hobby of finding people my size and throwing them at other people.
We were playing. Warped Tour got canceled in Wilmington, so the place here, Hooligans, they snagged some of the heavier bands like Beartooth, Hands Like Houses, Silverstein, and they threw us on that bill. They called it the Warped Tour Rest Stop.
Yep, we opened for 20 minutes.
Yeah, we had a 20-minute set, and it was fucking like it was so insane. Packed in there, you almost couldn't breathe. The air was thick. But during our song "As I Watch Helplessly," there's like a long breakdown part in it where I don't have any vocals, and I usually run out into the pit during that, and they always bring it up where I made a dude like vaporize.
Oh, I'm saying on record right now, George Barrows killed a man. July 4th, 2017.
They said that dude collided with me, and he disappeared and never saw him again.
Yes, George killed a guy.
Well, now I hope when I get a chance to see you guys play live that you play that song and you jump into the pit because I'm coming for that one. If I get vaporized and disappear and you guys don't see me until all of a sudden it's like I'm now just a figment on the internet, I mean, I think that might be worth it. But then I'll show up out of nowhere and just be like,
we still dust stuff off every once in a while, but we got way heavier shit now than that. Yeah.
Or just any kind of period of time where George can jump in the crowd and be on the opposite side of me in a wall of death.
You can't miss him. He's fucking 8 feet tall. We look stupid standing next to each other. Like if you saw me and George holding hands in the park, like you think it was his, I was his kid. Yeah, we're barely the same thing.
Oh my God. Okay, I got to try and find a way to make it down to Jimfest for this shit because that would just be insane.
We would love to have you, man.
Hell yeah.
I may have to start my own little crowdfunding thing. Be like, can someone just a little bit of help? Just not much, just a little bit of help. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm fully down there. I'm bringing all this shit with me and just like, okay, do some like on-site stuff, do some on-site interviews, have some good times there. All of a sudden, the music starts like, okay, we're going to put that away. And I'm going straight to the pit and you're not getting me out of there.
Hell yeah.
You have a good time here, man. Because you're built for it. I saw you at fucking Blue Ridge with no shirt on. I was like, he's killed people. When you were talking to Cody at the booth, I was like, I've never met you before then, but he's like, that's my buddy Kevin. We did our first interview with him, or one of their first interviews. So I was like, he's fucking awesome, but I bet he could throw somebody.
I knew he looked familiar. I was fucking
you were there
too. I was the fucking lurched motherfucker at the damn tent.
Yeah, George was with us at Blue Ridge. He's the one that filmed TVA's whole set for Blue Ridge.
Oh, nice. Okay. It's like, because your face, I'm like, it does remind me of someone from Blue Ridge, but I couldn't think of where it was, but now I totally know. But I will say this, after I got done talking with Cody and with you guys at the merge tent, the next thing I did was I went over to the actual main stage because Rise Against was performing, and I'm never going to miss out on that. And of course, they had the weird golden circle stuff. Of course, we all jumped the fences. On the left side, we had a nice, huge pit going. And I was basically in the middle of the whole entire thing. And there were people that were like wanting to do like the one-on-one thing with me. And I think out of like the 10 or 11 people I had to go up against, I think I just did not destroy one of them. Like every other one is like I put on the ground and picked them back up, gave them, to get a little hug just because, it's the pit. We're just having a good time there. But if everyone wanted to go, they're like, all right, let's do this shit. And just took care of business. Had some fun with it. It was a good time.
Yeah, man.
Hey, you're wearing a Rise Against shirt. I see that now.
Yeah.
Hey man, I've been pretty much wearing Rise Against shirts this whole entire week after I saw them live for my last show of the year in Chicago, and I felt like absolute crap going to the show. I'm just like, this is gonna just be not good. My legs were dead. I just was not really feeling it. Literally get to the show, not feeling good. All of a sudden they go up on stage. It was literally like a switch gets turned on in my head. It's like all of a sudden the music starts. I'm like, hello, okay, we're in. Like whatever I was feeling bad about or whatever my body was feeling bad, everything is out the window now. It's like I am set. I am ready to go. So I kind of want to come down to Jimfest. I got to try and make it happen because once the music starts, it's just like, hello, superpowers. I'm in.
Well, if you don't make this one, I am planning on doing another one in May. And the one in May is probably going to be the biggest one I do because I've got a friend that has about 300 acres of farmland. So I'm going to try and get, I've got a connection out of Havelock for a mobile stage that we can set up on location, like what we played with Fuel. And
camping and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try and make it as big as I possibly can. But the thing is what I'm doing with this venture, it's kind of small time because I'm able to rent the venue for 2 nights, and I was able to get a really good price because we made deals with the promoter, because he's able to promote it. He knows he's going to get traffic. But the one I'm trying to shoot for in May, I want to at least throw 15 bands on, do it on a Saturday, and just go as long as we possibly can. And it's in Trenton, which in North Carolina is in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. We can light each other on fire, and there ain't a cop coming.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
somebody's face at them.
It's still in really early development stages, but Jimfest 1, we did at a community building, not much bigger than the room that we're in now, and it packed out, and I was shocked. And literally day of, they had the wrong address until the day we played it, and people still came. We probably had between 150 and 200 people there at a community building.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
So if this next one at Hooligans goes well at an actual venue, then 100% I'm putting money aside. And if it's $2,500 to throw it, then I'll get sponsors, or I'll front the money myself, just like I did with the first one, and I'm doing with this one.
Food part vendors.
Yeah.
Say if you're doing it, I'll say if you're doing it in May and it's that big, and as long as it's not over Memorial Day weekend, I am in for that.
Right on.
So
definitely.
So kind of like jumping back a little bit more like that North Carolina metal page, because it seems like through all those actions, you guys really ended up taking off with notoriety. And then, of course, once live shows came back, all those bands that were essentially like on that, not the blacklist, but like kind of like the watch out for list and like Blackball list in a way. It seems like you, like, once shows came back, you guys just kind of went full force back into it, and everyone was supporting you guys once again.
All I have to say is every band that was on that list that didn't break up is playing more shows than the people threatened them they wouldn't play, if that makes any sense. Like they were saying, like any place that has like, I guess like, what do they call it? Ticketmaster or
Live Nation.
Any place that has that kind of backing, they'll never play a show again if they're on that list, was what the person was trying to allude to. But none of that happened. He had no pull. And like Milestone's booking out, Hooligans is booking out, Limelight here in Jacksonville's booking out, and all of the bands that were brought up into that turmoil, they're thriving. Like everybody's kicking ass right now. So it was a waste of time on their part. I think it was done out of fear. I think when everything took off, the whatever COVID and all the dark, eerie stuff that it brought with it. I mean, yeah, COVID sucks. We lost people. We're not discounting that at all. I fucking hate that it ever happened. But what my point is they were using that as a stepping stool to punch down on other bands and be like, yo, what the fuck are y'all doing trying to maintain a band during all of this? And we were like, fuck you, we'll do what we want.
Yeah, back in October 2020, we played a private party. And it was like one of the first times we saw Begin New, I think.
Yeah, that was their first show.
Yeah, and I mean, look at, dude, they just, they didn't stop.
The fuck
yeah, you can't stop. I mean, you really can't stop.
Two people almost died that night, but not because of the show. My gallbladder exploded right after we played, and George had an experience.
Yeah, but out of body.
Yeah, the biggest thing though with the people that were doing the blacklisting and all
it's
that.
Not a
stuff,
blacklist.
Whatever the fuck you want to call it. But the biggest thing with that is you got people that are legit fucking scared, and they're basically just jealous because you're not scared.
Yeah.
So, he's not scared. He'll go out and fucking do that. So I'm gonna try to ruin his shit. So that way he can sit at home scared with me. That's what the whole thing's been.
And even this far out, a lot of those same people are still like reluctant to go to shows, but then like half of that group has split off and they turn their backs on the very people that they were talking shit with to come to shows.
Yeah, they're doing it.
They got sick of it. They're just like, how long are we gonna fucking wait? And it got weird for a lot of people there for a long time. But I would say the harmonious side of it, there's never been a better time to catch a show than right now, because before it was taken for granted. People would come out if they felt like it, but there was so much stimulation. But after being locked in a house for 8 months, for a lot of people, especially in like the busier cities, not here, and all you got to do all day is watch TV and scroll Facebook, that shit gets played out and people wanted to go out again.
Yep.
So it's paid off.
Oh, absolutely. And I've seen that from a bunch of other bands as well, too, because even during 2020, there was, like, during the pandemic time, I actually got a chance to go and see 2 small shows from bands I've had in the podcast. They were playing a couple hours away from me. I'm like, well, I haven't seen a live show since, the whole entire shit went down. And I get that there's a pandemic going on, but when it comes to these bands, I get why people are freaked out by it and why people don't want to have happen. But these, like, for a lot of these bands, this is their livelihood. So they're going to try and make ends meet. They're not getting, these wacky subsidies that everyone else is getting. They're not getting all this unemployment crap. Like, they're trying to make it. So if they're going to try and make it, that's totally fine. If you don't feel comfortable going out to shows, you don't have to go out to a show. That's your choice. But if you want to go out, because I went out to them, and I even had one band talking to me about how multiple different bands, bigger bands than them, were coming after them and were trying to basically blacklist them, trying to destroy their band, trying to destroy all credibility that they had within any sort of way with bigger promoters, even smaller promoters, venues, whatever it might be. And now the band that I specifically talked to about that, what they're doing now is like, yeah, they released an album in 2021. They've been touring all over like Texas and that kind of like Southwest area. And they're doing really well for themselves at the moment. They're continuing to grow. And I'm looking at thinking, yeah. And people were complaining about this shit in 2020. And you know what? If you were scared, I get it. But if you weren't scared, I get it. Let's just, if you don't feel like being comfortable going to a show, that's fine. There's a lot of us that really want to go out to a show because that's what we love to do. And we're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You pretty much hit everything that I think Matt was about to say.
Yeah, for real.
It's a freedom of choice thing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's a freedom of choice thing. And I'm glad that, especially shows are back now, like even bigger shows are back now. Festivals are back, and seeing all the big tours that are happening around, even the small tours that I'm seeing even come through my area, like with some smaller venues that have like the 300-400 cap rooms. Like, I want to go out and see as many of these as possible just because, hell, shows are fun. That's what I love to do. Why would I take that for granted again?
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
and a lot of your, touring bands that would play like outdoor festivals and stuff like that came back to the clubs for a little while.
Yeah.
Like Born of Osiris was just here.
Yeah.
Breaking Benjamin just played Limelight last Tuesday for an acoustic set. Not Ice Nine Kills just played Limelight 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and you're
sold
talking about
out.
a 1,200 cap venue. I mean,
Yeah,
those
1,200
bands could
max.
fill a 5,000 easy.
Yeah, but they brought them back to the clubs,
Yeah.
which, I'm sure they're getting compensated for, but it's nice because instead of having to endure an entire festival to see, your favorite band, now you can go see them at a club 30 minutes up the road.
Yeah, not having to drive fucking 3 hours, get a hotel.
Yep.
And that's another thing that's cool about Jacksonville is that they got 2 venues that book.
They bring them in.
Yeah, bring them in. Yeah, dude, they do.
Yeah, and if you're going to be able to bring them in, just keep bringing them in. I mean, we want to see these bands perform. We want to see them play. I've seen bands that I probably shouldn't have seen at some of those smaller venues, and I absolutely love the fact that you've been able to, just because, hell, if there's a band that's like Ice Nine Kills playing at a 1,200 cap room, and now they're going to be going on tour with Motionless and White and Black Veil Brides and playing in rooms that are like 5,000-6,000 capacity. Yeah, if you see them in a club show setting, hell yeah, go and do it. It's fun.
Right before the pandemic was Motionless and White played Limelight or Tar Heel.
With
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Was
Yeah,
that
after the burial, Motionless and White played the Tar Heel right before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was like in October, like
Yeah.
right around.
Yeah.
That was
Once
like-
again, that goes back to the taking advantage of the shows thing, because that show was far from sold out. There was a lot of people there. Ice Nine Kills got announced, and that
Boom.
day it's sold out
Yeah.
post-COVID.
Yep.
And I mean, even the tour they're going on now is selling out like crazy. So you're seeing the fact that people want to go out and see these live shows again, and it's something that we're not gonna miss out on again. Of course, as time goes on, people are gonna be like, okay, no, I don't have to go to every single show, or like they're not gonna spend as much money on shows just because they're gonna get complacent again. But if you can play as many shows as you can right now because of how badly people want to get out and go see live music, by all means, go and do it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of like also in like a safety net area because of where we're at. It seems like it's kind of recession proof.
Yeah,
because
we
the
have
military. And that, I mean, and the promoters, man, especially the guys that do the stuff here, we're pretty good friends with them. And they got a very eclectic taste of stuff they want to bring in here. They're just not trying to just bring just like anything. They want to bring the good stuff.
Yep.
Well, that's what they want to bring.
Heavier and heavier.
So, like, kind of jumping back into, more of what we were talking about. Again, being back up on stage, you guys are taking, like you said, Chris, you guys are, playing more live shows now than you had beforehand, really taking advantage of the time that you have. Like, you've seen the growth from that. You've seen the amount of people come off that. Are you guys going to continue doing that going into 2022, playing as many shows as possible to keep riding this wave?
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're jumping on anything and everything we possibly can.
Yep. I don't know if we can say anything about that one thing.
No, we can't say anything about that yet. That's in May.
We have a show in May that's going to be pretty cool. We can't talk about it, but yeah.
Oh, darn. I wanted to hear about it, but if you can't talk about it, I'm not going to force the issue because I know how that stuff works.
I'll send you a message.
I will take that. I'll take that.
I mean, hell. One of our most recent ones was a bill that I never would have thought of us being on. The VRSTY show.
Oh, yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, VRSTY. We played with a band called VRSTY, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
Great guys.
Yeah.
They're some of the coolest dudes I've met personally.
Yeah.
It's like if you took The Weeknd and Michael Jackson and put it into a metal band.
Dude,
Yeah,
it
it was amazing.
Yeah.
I liked it way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
Now, was that back in like November when they kind of came around your area? Or like towards like Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a week before or something like that.
The 23rd. Yep.
That makes sense though, because I was kind of pissed about that because I'm like, I see Death Uriah on the show, I see VRSTY on the show, because I've had Joey on the podcast, their lead singer, 2 separate times. Once was because I think what was the first time. First time was I did a video just trying to figure out the band, and like him and I started talking afterwards. So we just talked about the whole entire video I made on a podcast. Then they were supposed to release their new album in November, so we did a whole podcast about it. And I'm like, I gotta see Joey play live. I saw that North Carolina show. I'm like, shit! Why can't this be anywhere near me?
Dude.
Yeah, they were fantastic, man. And then of course Johnny, the one that books most of the shows and stuff, the Hooligans, he was getting VRSTY all nice and liquored up during their set.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's a story here I gotta listen to.
Shots and they're looking at him like, man, come on. Andy was making them drink Smirnoffs, which was hilarious. So it's like, man, I remember my first drink.
Nonpoint was drinking White Claw. That was pretty cool. I mean, they were crushing White Claws, man.
That's because you can crush them.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I do remember Joey on Facebook. He did post something about like the day after that show. He's like, after that show in North Carolina, he's like, I'm not feeling the best, guys. Not really feeling the best. I'm just like, I wonder why. And now I know why.
Oh, we put it on them boys.
Yeah. Dude, they were so nice too. And they were like, man, because it was us and Waking Terror that played with them. And they were like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in North Carolina. They were like, but y'all's bands are the best fucking bands we played with this whole entire tour. They were like, and I doubt we'll play with anybody better. He's like, what's in the fucking water?
Found out it's late.
Yeah.
He said, is this normal? We're like, yeah, that's a normal thing here.
Yeah. Well, it's just nice to see somebody, of that, like national tier where, like, the whole time we're playing, they're actually standing right there watching.
Yeah, they hung out with us while we played. It was amazing.
Yeah. Taking videos and stuff, Most of the time you might see somebody from a band that's just like, oh, yeah, they're playing, and then they disappear into the fucking night and you don't see them again.
Yeah.
And that's really another good thing about Johnny and those guys, because they actually will allow a band who's not maybe ready to do it, but if you want to play with a national, we're going to get you up there.
Yep.
And you will find out quickly
Sink or swim, bitch.
Yeah, seriously.
But that's a good thing, though. And I mean, I'm glad you guys got to play with VRSTY as well, because I've wanted to see VRSTY for quite a while now. I'm just like, and I saw that it was you guys, Wiggy Term, just like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I was seriously thinking about, like, I'm going to ditch my family for Thanksgiving to come down and see this shit.
Dude, it was good. It was a good show, for real.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And like, and the fact you said like they were like sitting out like watching you guys perform and like, you know, taking videos, like really focusing in on it. That is just indicative of who those guys are. Like every time I've talked to them, it's like they just love doing what they do. And when it comes to seeing the shows, like they want to take a whole part of it, and they're gonna support any band that they're playing with, that's playing before them, after them. So if you guys getting connected with VRSTY, that is one hell of a good move to make, especially with, you know, what's in the water? It's liquor. Liquor's in the water, Joey.
Yeah.
Speaking on that though, another thing is too, you know, most of these bands, whenever they're, you know, at the national level and stuff like that, they took their drum set off after their sound check and allowed the local acts to use the fucking drum sheet over that bitch.
That was the biggest big dick
When I saw
moves.
them pulling the drums off, I was like, holy shit, okay.
Yeah. We call that big dicking.
Yeah.
So they literally just took the drums up so that the local bands that were going to be playing on there had the full use of the stage, and you didn't have to worry about a drum kit in the back of the headliner taking up the rest of the space.
Yeah, first national band we ever played with that did that.
Yeah, the last time we played, Brian had to be put in the corner.
Baby had to be put in the corner. Matter of fact, we played on a package. I can't remember, it was years ago, but they had the main act was on the riser, and then the supporting to them act was on the fucking one side of the stage, and we ended up having to like cram into a fucking corner. Remember that? Because like I couldn't even like I'm pretty crazy on stage as far as like thrashing around and shit. And I pretty much had to stay in one spot. And I felt like I was going to lose my fucking mind during that set. So I was like, I'll die if I start getting crazy.
Kind of did the same thing with the Butcher Baby show, because they had the second drum set on the side.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but
it was
the one I'm talking about
weird.
was stupid. Yeah.
As of late, all of our shows have been like the nationals.
Yeah,
just about.
So when push comes shove, whatever we can do, just don't put Brian in the corner. Just don't put him there, because, well, give him some space. Let him thrash around. Let him go crazy.
Just don't put a drum set up my ass on the stage and I'm good.
Sticks go flying sometimes.
It was probably that Warped Tour thing we did, man, because when Chris played, he was like literally right there. We were kind of like offset.
I don't know. It don't matter.
Yeah.
We'll make do with whatever we got, and we have a good time doing it.
Oh yeah, we'll play on the floor, you know, and call it a stage. I don't give a shit. We're still gonna rock it. Yep.
And that's going to be the most important thing, is just if you guys are able just to put on the best show possible, whatever conditions you have to play in, that's going to be the thing that people are going to end up taking away from the show, and people are going to have the best time possible. And after the show, it's like, okay, yeah, you might have had some conditions that weren't, you know, the best. You might have had to, you know, make a bunch of weird adjustments to it. But if you play with the positive energy and you just play with like the fact that you want to play there, no matter what, people are going to remember that, and people are going to remember the band for the positive, instead of just like, okay, you got thrown into a weird situation and then you're going to complain. You never want to do that, because that always ends up leaving like a bad energy taste with the fans. And it's just like, oh, you might not want to see them again. If you're able to just like go with the flow and just have as much fun as possible doing it, so that creates some of the best moments. And all of a sudden people go like to work the next day, or like go on Facebook the next day, and they're like, this is a band you want to see because this is some weird shit that happened, and they just rolled with it, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we've definitely been there. Been times where we started playing and we're like, oh, did not get the monitors correct, but fuck it, we're gone.
Yeah, we gotta go.
gotta go.
Again, the fact that you guys have been able to just like play certain shows, and all of a sudden it's, you know, wacky stuff happens. You're put in some wacky situations, but being able to make the most out of them, that's a huge key that's going to end up taking the band a lot further than anything else, really, in terms of the energy you provide on stage, live, and the positive experience people are going to have from your shows.
No doubt.
Yeah. I'm excited. Future's going to be fun.
The future better be fun, otherwise we're gonna have a massive problem on our hands.
Yeah, no doubt.
So outside of that, I mean, what else can we expect from Death Uriah going into 2022? Because, I mean, I know you guys are talking about more shows. We talked about Jimfest even. What else is going on that we can expect from you guys? Because you guys have started to grow rather well in 2021 thanks to playing a lot of those live shows. How are you going to continue that momentum going into 2022?
I already have another demo bought and paid for that we haven't recorded yet, that we'll probably be recording hopefully around end of March, early April. So that's one thing. And of course, just keeping the show momentum up. We were blessed enough to get Terminal Vices and then chase Terminal Vices right after that with Pedalwood. So that's created a lot of momentum for us, the past year. So if we can just keep on recording and throwing stuff out there, that's what, that's the main priority right now, is just to keep content coming. Even if it's just us going live on our Facebook and, playing for people that are bored at home, or going live at shows, or playing shows, or me making my stupid videos. It's all content, man, and it keeps people engaged.
Mm-hmm.
That, and we'll also be launching a website and some other cool stuff, maybe some new merch and stuff.
Yep.
Upcoming here in the next couple months.
Yep.
So there's that.
Got the web store. We got, what else we got?
The Dirtbag sponsorship.
Yeah,
We got our Dirtbag sponsorship, which will tie in with some new merch and stuff like that. So got that going.
So we got
Who knows? We might repeat for the video.
So we got a lot more growth coming from you guys, because I do understand where you're coming from, as well as you guys really picked up all momentum with shows, and going into 2022, even with, there's still a good amount of people that have not gone to a lot of live shows, because a lot of people are still kind of nervous, and a lot of people, those people that are nervous to go to live shows, still love music. I mean, like when I went to go see Rise Against at the end of December, half of that room, that when they asked, like, okay, whose first show back is this? Half the room raised their hand. It was like a 5,000 cap room and 2,500 people. That was their first show back. And I'm just looking around like, there's still a lot of people that have not come out to a show yet. So you still have that chance to be that first show that people are coming back to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we would love to be.
The more you can make it, the more it's going to have happened. So it seems like, again, a lot of great stuff coming on your guys' end for 2022. And still not going to lie, I got to come down there for Jimfest. I got to find a way to make that happen, because I just keep thinking about, I'm like, that sounds like too much fun, man.
We would love to have you, dude.
Yeah, that would be an honor and a blast.
Yeah, I think you'd have a good time.
I'll just fly down there. I'll bring a backpack. I'll bring a tent, and I'll just like camp out in the middle of a field somewhere and just like wake up in the morning. Alrighty, how the hell am I going to get to the place I need to get to today?
Oh, hell no, man. You stay with one of us.
Yeah, dude.
3 of us live in the same place.
Yeah, dude.
Like, Brian's my neighbor, and then my tech / our other sometimes guitarist, Sam, he lives right next door to Brian.
Oh, well,
If you
shit.
came down here, you'd be in good company.
Yeah, we got you covered.
Yeah.
And if for some reason you guys weren't picking up the phone, I just like kept a message, probably like Cody or like Shane from the beginning, who'd be like, hey guys, need some help over here. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm randomly somewhere, and then all of a sudden the Waking Terror guys show up, and I've got all these different pranks happening to me. Oh boy.
That will happen.
Those guys are pranksters for sure.
Yeah.
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 Have you guys ever fallen victim to one of their pranks?
Nope.
No.
We've had some very interesting conversations.
Yeah, we know about pretty much all of it. But yeah. No, we haven't really fallen into anything.
There's a lot of man love that goes on.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, shit.
Different games that will make you cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say then when I come, I'm probably gonna end up being like the line of fire for that one, because all of a sudden it's gonna be like, oh shit, Kevin's here. Yep, we gotta find some way to make this memorable. I'm just gonna be sitting there thinking, okay, just survive this, just survive this, just survive this, just survive this.
Yeah, actually, we need to make sure he stays with Waking Terror.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
That's who you need to stay with.
You're gonna be called a sexy motherfucker more times than you can count by those guys.
You will be groped.
Yeah, you ain't sleeping.
You know what? I'm just gonna have like one of those I'm just have a clicker, and every time they say it's like some motherfucker, I'm just gonna click it just so that I can somehow keep track of it instead of trying to write it down or mark it and tally it. No, and if I break it, then I break it. If it goes over the number limit, I'm gonna be like, well, fuck, you guys broke, and then I'll just chuck it at a wall somewhere, chuck it in the field. It's like, yep, we don't need that anymore. We don't. We know the number exceeds the limit.
What's your favorite drink?
Yeah.
Oh,
have you had them on the show yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. I gotta rewatch. I think I saw their interview, but I wasn't sure if it was you or if it was another guy. So, were they all there for it?
They were all there for it after 30 minutes. I remember, if I remember correctly, one person showed up 30 minutes into the interview, and we were still doing story time at that point. So all of a sudden, it's we brought up story time, and the guy was just I forgot who it was. I think it might have been the drummer. Was just oh, I got a great one for this one. I'm just oh lordy, okay, here we go. This is gonna be fun.
I remember story time with To Begin Anew. I already know George has got one queued up for story time.
Well, then now we're gonna move on to story time.
Oh God, here it is.
Here we go.
I already told him about the Viagra and the mixed drink thing that I did a while back.
Oh God,
with the other band. But if you're ready for story time, George is gonna lay this one out. I'm gonna give it all to George because he witnessed it. I saw it, but George got to enjoy it more than anybody.
All right, George, lay this story on me. I'm ready to fall out of this chair laughing, potentially bang my head on my table, and give myself concussion number 9 for my whole entire lifetime. So, George, bring it on, man. Bring it on.
All right, so this was an earlier incarnation of the band, so to speak. It was with the original drummer and bass player, even though we don't really count that time period because this is the band. But anyways, we were playing the show in Wilmington, and it was they got some of these bars that are underground, shit like that. And I don't know if we had played yet or not. That doesn't even matter. But
yeah, we did.
We had played. Okay, so we're back up out on the street. Guys smoking, shit like that, standing there, and there was these very BO stank dudes that were hanging out there. They looked like they probably slept under the freeway. And somehow had some super hot chicks with them, which made it even weirder. But anyways, the one guy, I think he was the one that actually witnessed the act happen. I saw the payoff part.
Yeah.
But he saw the guy actually pull his dick out
and start pissing on the wall.
Yeah, he pissed on the door to the venue.
Yeah.
Fuck this place. Ah. So the people come up there and he goes, "Hey, I got piss on your door." And
I was immediately I'm telling.
Yeah. That dude was like, "You pissed on my door?" And the guy was like, "No, I didn't piss on your door." And then Vance, being the guy that he is, he goes, "If it's not pissed, then lick it." And the guy's like, "I'm not gonna lick it." He's like, "I got $5." The dude was like, "Fuck yeah!" Dropped down and started licking his piss off of the door, going, "Would I lick it if it's piss?"
It gets worse.
Then, so Vance gives him the $5, and then the bitch that was with him goes, "Oh, I want $5 too." It starts licking his piss off the door too, and the Vance was like, "I didn't make that deal with you."
Nope. I was like, "Deal's off." I was like, "He got my $5. You just lick piss for free."
And I was just standing there going, "Wow, this is definitely fucking Wilmington."
Yeah. And they were having the time of their life, but it killed their buzz when I was like, I only brought 1 $5.
It was like that night was like a mix of being in Wilmington and Fayetteville.
Oh yeah. You got him! Look at him! He's down!
Man down! Man down!
Y'all definitely did have that one night.
Yeah, that one queued up, ready to go.
Ben got maced right around the corner 2 weeks prior.
What the fuck's happening in Wilmington? My God!
Wilmington at that time was a very, very eclectic, strange place. It's coming back, but at the time you had
hipsters and under the freeway guys.
Yeah,
there
was a lot of hippies. Ballyhoo, if they played there, they would sell out immediately. These guys, when we saw them, we were like, "This is gonna be trouble." And homeboy whipped it out, pissed off. He wrote his name on the wall, and I mean, he licked half the piss. But that girl that was with him, she licked the rest of it. That door was
She
fucking
pitched cleanup for free.
That door was clean when they were done. Like the paint was coming off. And I've never seen somebody's soul leave their body when I was like, I didn't make that deal with you. That was just for him. For $5 fucking in Wilmington, you can see some shit.
Oh yeah.
Fans licked piss off of a door for a beer.
And you know what's crazy? Like
It was $5 to get you a beer.
when he was pissing, he farted. So like he was pushing that piss hard. It wasn't a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the, I didn't hear anybody yell, I think I heard a shot, but I mean, it was a good stream.
I heard a shot.
Yeah. My man was relieved and then
He was relieved.
yeah, he was thirsty and then not.
Uh,
But yeah, that's the craziest shit I think I can think of.
yeah.
Oh my god.
We had a interesting talk over.
Yeah,
Wasn't nothing.
there was another one. It's not as funny as that, but we were playing at Fayetteville and we were eating at the sub shop next to the venue, and some bum guy that liked to sing Elvis came up and was trying to get us to give him money and was singing about singing Elvis songs. So I was like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
it was weird. Fayetteville, I don't know if any of the other bands talk about Fayetteville. Fayetteville, we call it Fayette Don because it was such a weird place to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The place that we played at was a strip club until it was time for the show to start.
Yeah.
So like we're coming in there like bringing in gear and there's like
There's hot chicks everywhere. I was like, yeah. Hot. And then I noticed there was a bunch of dusty old men. I was like, wait.
some of those girls look like a bag of water nailed to a wall.
I mean, but for our crowd,
I was like, man, I just want to fucking get ready for the show. Like, this is weird.
this is going to be a great show, guys.
Titties.
I thrive in environments like that.
Titties.
It's fucking weird. I'm all for it, man.
Remember they had the light up floor?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, your shift's over. Go get your heroin.
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever seen a collapsible stripper booth in my life. Like, they fucking broke that shit down and it was out the door in 10 minutes.
George, he shut a fucking show down there. Fucking Head Pete was playing. And he goes, "Yeah, not around here."
Yeah.
Oh my! It's kind of like, okay, up on deck right after this we have Death Uriah playing, but for now, gentlemen, get ready for chastity. And all
Yeah,
this.
that was exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this is fun.
Well, shit. I wonder if there's any venues around here in Milwaukee that would do something like that. Well, I could name a couple that would probably do something like that, and I kind of want to see that happen now, just for the sake of the fact that I just want to say I saw that happen live. Like all of a sudden, yep, there's a stripper that was on. All of a sudden, she went off, and here comes a heavy metal band right after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I've always wanted to play a strip club.
It was very quiet
Yeah.
during the transition.
Well, I mean, my thing is, it's like, what kind of fucking strip club just runs during the day and isn't open at night? Like, what?
And like George said, the girls were not top shelf, but the fellas there, they were like truckers. But I don't mean that as a derogatory term toward truckers. You got to be careful with that shit nowadays because everybody gets offended. But man, like I'm talking like these cats that were during the strip club hours had to peel themselves off of the seats because you could tell they hadn't showered in a few days.
Ooh.
It was rank.
The
Yeah.
sound that just came out.
Nobody left in a limo.
No. Shit, half that crowd walked. What are you talking about? Not one motherfucker drove a car to that shit. They were just like,
Nobody left in the fucking limo.
yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my!
The fucking limo. Fucking little Toyota Celica fucking station.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the sound that came out of his mouth.
We still got time to make it to the methadone clinic, boys.
She don't
You
until
said they peeled
7:30.
themselves off the fucking chairs and he went, ugh.
That's what happened. I saw it. Old boy was over there with a spatula fucking helping old boy get up. Like, come on.
All right, that goddamn devil music's about to start.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, they peel them. It's like they peel themselves off the chair, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you got a little bit of mushrooms growing in the back seat of that chair. You got a little brown spot on the bottom of it, and they've got like bed rash all over them because they've probably been in that chair for 7-8 hours at that point, hadn't moved.
Fuck.
Kevin, you would fit in down here better than you think. Trust me.
Yeah.
You fit in down here perfectly fine.
Yeah, they flipping eggs in there, right? And titties are flopping. That's all they're doing. They're like titties and bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches in the morning.
Yeah, I saw a guy leave with a fucking doggy bag. I was like,
it was weird as
on?
shit.
Do you like a fried egg hanging on a rusty nail? Well, come to our strip club.
Yeah, that's 9 o'clock in the morning, dude.
And it was like a bootlegger ass strip club too.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a real strip club. It was a club that had a strip club inside of it. It was so weird.
Sold half the shit. The first time we went there, it was like, damn, they had a lot of nice stuff in there. Next time we come back, he's like, yeah, we don't know if we're going to be open very much longer. I had to sell half of our stuff over there. We're like, what the fuck are we going to play through?
Yeah. Thank God for stage volume.
It's like we went there one time and their gear was Pepsi, and then we went back and that shit was RC Cola.
Yeah.
Diet right.
It's like, oh man, the quality of that really dipped right then and there. It's like, oh, you got Pepsi. Okay, what's next? Diet right.
Yep.
Oh no.
That shit, Food Line Cola. It just says Cola on it.
Cola.
Just like your standard old store brand cola.
Yeah.
It tastes like what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like where before is their microphone said Sennheiser, and now it just says Sigh.
It just says Mike.
Mike.
Or it just says talking to this thing or singing to this thing. That's all it's going to say on it at that point.
Yeah. And it's like white labeled.
Or no, you're going to turn it over and it's going to have the Guitar Hero, the rock band logo literally printed on there because that's what they got the mic from.
Oh, God. The karaoke thing.
Hell yeah.
Well.
Oh, God damn.
Well, now, if you guys are telling me that I would fit in even more, like, perfectly than I think I would, I mean, you guys are making the case for me to come down to Jimfest either in January or May, like, almost a sure thing at this point, just so I can see and experience the insanity, the wackiness, and the fun that is this North Carolina music scene.
Well, I hope you guys end up making it down, man, because it's a party down here, man. I got really high hopes for Jimfest too. Jimfest 1 was a happy accident that it turned out 10 times better than we thought it would. It literally came down to the wire, and we pulled it off last minute. I feel like there's a lot more preparation time going into the second one, but I'm really gunning for that third one. Not to discredit the second one. I think the second one's going to be amazing. But my goal is that I mean, I'm a fan of bigger bands, but I want to push everybody on the baseboard, the local, and the regional level out as much as possible, instead of you having to only see these bands tagged on to giant names. You know what I mean? Like, I want these bands to have their own accreditation in and of themselves versus having to either jump on a show with the national or come to pocket. The way I've got this Jimfest set up, every band that sells tickets, everything that they're making from the tickets goes 100% back to that band. So you're not getting $2 off the ticket for every ticket sold. No, tickets are $5. That's all it is. It's $5. Get you in the door. And every band that sells their tickets, every dime they sell goes right back to that band.
Yeah, there's no turning your money in or whatever before you play. Like, you sell the tickets, you put it in the band fund or whatever the fuck you do with it.
Yep.
That's an incredibly smart move to make, because it makes Jimfest about the bands and it makes it about the fans. It doesn't make it about necessarily, trying to make the most amount of money possible. It's the core focus is to give the bands that you have in your local scene the proper, the proper spotlight on them so that they don't have to just be attached to these larger bands just to get some sort of attention put on them.
Yes. That's the thing is, like, Jimfest 1 wasn't even my idea. It was John Kennedy's idea from the Father Crown. But they're a unique group of guys. I love the Father Crown, but they will take something and turn it into something magnificent. Mm-hmm. And like, the Jimfest 1 was a Halloween themed show, and it was the legend of Chris Jim Vance. Well, the story of Jim, we don't have enough time for it, but it comes from when I played in a ska band, and none of us knew each other's names. So you just call everybody Jim or Johnny or Rick.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, Jim. What's up? How's it going? That's just how it all started. Then I got into the metal realm with these guys, and I'm fucking terrible with names, man. I don't remember names unless I've like seen you more than a couple times. I'm like, what's up, Jim? And then I became Jim. And then fucking my face got put on a flyer in the show in Salisbury. And then my face got put on fucking Jimfest.
That's facial expression.
Yeah. And then I ended up hosting Jimfest 1, and then I'm hosting, of course, the second one. But it was just a quirky idea that we were just like making fun of that turned into a show that's now turning into a festival, which will hopefully turn into the outdoor festival.
That is one hell of a story. Now I know why every time like I get a message from you, Chris, it'd say Jim at the end. I'm like, who the hell is Jim?
Yep. A lot of people are like, who the fuck is Jim? I was like, you're Jim. Everybody's Jim.
Yeah.
I only had one guy get pissed off at me for calling him Jim, and it was some old dude at the bowling alley. He's like, my name is Steven. I was like, whatever, man. Jim.
I was fixing to ask if it was some guy named James. No, it's James. I don't go by Jim.
And when you really brought that back out was you and Ben going hard on that.
Ben
shit.
Baldridge.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
He was Johnny and you were Jim.
Yeah. Ben was Johnny.
What's up, Jim? Hey, Johnny.
So,
For 8
but
years.
now you got the lore behind the whole Jim thing. That's where it comes from.
And the lore behind that became Jimfest to Jimfest 2 to all of a sudden Jimfest 3, the outdoor version of Jimfest, and then just going to keep growing. And the way you described it is how it happened as a happy accident. All I can think of is just, you guys are making Jimfest like a beautiful Bob Ross painting of just great fucking music.
Oh, I have all the ideas. This is just going to keep going, dude.
Yeah, we're just
No
getting
doubt.
warmed up, man. Like I said, the first one, John reached out to me and he's like, hey, let's try and pull an all local show. And he didn't want to involve any venues. He just wanted to do it the old school DIY. And I was like, okay.
Like the late 90s.
But he wasn't as comfortable as I am with reaching out to bands. And I was like, fuck it, I'll bring you 5 bands. And so I reached out and all 5 were like, done, let's do it. And next thing I know, cars are pulling up. And I'm like, the fuck, man, there's people here. And then more cars are pulling up. I'm like, the fuck, there's more people here. And all the bands did their thing. Everything went off without a hitch. Jimfest 2, there's 13 bands on the lineup. And right now I'm waiting on one to confirm is all. All the rest of them are 100%. And the second that flyer dropped on Facebook, I had bands messaging me, asking to be on it. And I had already had it.
Too late, bro.
Yeah. I reached out to these guys 2 months. I literally, the day after the first Jimfest, I started reaching out to other bands and saying, hey, I know you guys saw what we did. You want to be a part of it? This is me reaching out saying, this is your chance. And everybody's leery because when it comes to ticket sales, I don't know if you're familiar with pay to play, but that's a big thing. It's become a big thing out of necessity to cover the bigger bands. Well, with me footing the bill for it, yeah, I'm taking a loss, but at the same time, if I can put 13 bands on a stage in front of 200 people that nobody's ever heard of, and I can get them 10 Facebook likes, and then we can keep that community going, just like Nestor's doing out in Nashville with Nova Omega, and we can keep going back and forth on both sides of the states and bringing a following from both sides of the states, we could build this shit, man.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to lie, because I'm just trying to piece together. I'm like, this actually sounds like it's going to work out incredibly well because, again, it's all about getting bands the proper exposure, the proper limelight that they deserve when it comes to playing a show so that they don't have to always be tethered to a bigger band in order to actually get people to show up. It's like, no, you want to come and have a great time, and it's like you want to have that like community support. Come here because, and just market it right. Next thing you know, I mean, you don't know how big this Jimfest thing could get.
Oh, we have all ideas. We wanted to get real big.
I'll put it this way. Matt has a lot of faith in me.
I do.
And
I've seen what the man can do.
at first I thought it was very misplaced, but now I think he was right the whole time. Because I'm the first one to discredit myself in anything and be like, it's probably going to be a one-off. And then...
Nah, man.
We've got to have
Look, and in the first Jimfest, it was so appropriate where we played because it was so that place had that intimate, like complete. It sounded fucking killer in there too.
It was just a little community building, was all it was.
It had fucking wedding lights hanging in.
But it was so bad.
Yeah, it was punk rock as shit, man. It was DIY.
It really was. It gave me renewed hope in DIY.
We even had an accident in the parking lot where a car hit another car.
Yeah.
I mean that's a show.
Yeah. But we did kind of gauge it, and a lot of people were anti-venue for Jimfest too. But I countered with, okay, what if I can get a venue
On the cheap.
with sponsorship and marketing on the cheap? And then everybody's like, well, hell yeah, because the promoter that I'm working with at the venue, Hooligans, he's got a really good reach, and he worked with touring bands. So, being that I was able to get it for a really good price for 2 nights, not just one, and instead of just having one night with 6 bands, let's do 2 nights. First night have 6 bands, second night have 6 bands, and then we'll have another band as an alternate, or they could do an acoustic act or something like that. But the first night is all rock. The second night is all metal. So to begin anew, Lilac, all the bands along that range are playing Friday, so I'll be with them Friday. Nova Omega is Friday. Terrestrial Animal, a couple of the Bridge to Breakdown. Those bands will be on Friday for the rock night, and then Saturday, I've got, and I'll just go ahead and leak it now. Saturday we've got A Shelter for Holly, Mortal After All, The Fall of the Crown, Us, and Wake and Terrace headlining.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I mean, I literally just threw dick on the table and was like, this is what I want, let's make it happen.
And if with this lineup, with the success that it seems like, especially with it being at Hooligans, and I've seen so many different flyers coming from different pages from different bands about playing at Hooligans. So when you're saying like, I actually am well aware of the venue, though I've never even been close to it. It seems like it's going to be a place where like people are going to end up even coming out. It's like, okay, they don't know any of the bands. They have an idea of what Jimfest is, but it's like, okay, but if Hooligans is putting this on and Hooligans is supporting it, and it's a whole night of rock one night, a whole night of metal one night, if you like one of those genres, you're going to want to go just to the experience this whole entire thing and just see what it's about. And you're going to end up getting a good quality show from the venue side of things, because you probably, especially from everyone in the area, you've probably been in that venue, 10, 20 times at this point. You know what to expect. You know it's going to be good.
Yeah. And that was, I'm trying to fill a void that some of the pitfalls of the first Jimfest had, because of course, first Jimfest was more of like a BYOB thing. John from the Fall of the Crown, his mom made a bunch of food, and that was special. But now doing it at a venue, I mean, the bar is going to make a killing, because, I'm not taking any cut of that. And then on top of that, the bands are going to make money if they're able to sell tickets and merch. And I mean, literally, it's the best way to market. There's no reason any band should come to this show and leave in debt or empty-handed. Between having access to merch sales, having access to tickets where you get 100% of that profit back, even if you have no draw at all, and I didn't reach out to bands that were coming from far away unless I knew that they could either cover it or bring a draw, because we've got to have people at the show in order for it to happen again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nobody's done what I'm trying to do before. Nobody's done it on just an all local thing. As far as what we're doing now, as far as making it genre specific and also blending the two in the 2 nights. There were festivals back in the day, but they were like metal festivals all day. And I mean, you're burning out 8 or 9 bands in. And I was like, we got to cap it at 6. Per night. So, I want it to be as big as it can possibly be, for what it is. And if it continues, I mean, if I have a 400 or 600 head crowd show up, combined for 2 nights, that's a success. I start bankrolling for the field show. That's the way I'm looking at it.
And of course, that when you get to that field show, it's going to present a number of different challenges compared to having it at a venue, when it comes to food, when it comes to, a bar having that kind of drink service around there. But I mean, anything that comes from going to from an indoor venue to an outdoor festival that you have to kind of put together. There's be a lot of different challenges in there. However, it seems like an undertaking that you definitely want to take a part of, and you're already thinking about how to do that. and already have seen, you know, especially some of the bigger festivals, some of the successes that they've had, some of the pitfalls that they've had, to try and figure out, okay, how can this work for us, even with more of a local mindset in terms of the bands that are coming in and the support, where it's like, okay, this is something that's kind of specific for if you like rock and metal and you're around this area. But also, if you're from an outside area like myself and you want to come and be a part of this, fuck yeah, come and be a part of this.
Well, I've seen wrong and I've seen right, and Kevin, you and I witnessed both of those at the festival that we were at. Don't say the name, but you know, there was a lot of good. There was a lot of shit that was done wrong. If I'm throwing a festival, as far as like the way you're talking about, I want 6 vendors. I want 3 food trucks, 3 beverages. This is on private property.
Yep.
So no filing for permits. You got to be willing to sign a waiver. After that, it's on you.
Yep.
If this was public property and I was having to involve law enforcement, like the gentleman who ran the festival that you and I met at, that would be different. But I've already gone through all the litigations with my lawyer as far as what we can and cannot do. And if it's a private event hosted on private land, you're able to pretty much supersede a lot of the red tape that the festival that we went to happened. Plus, I mean, it's not going to be nowhere near the scope of, you know, what happened in Virginia. But, you know, at the same time,
it was, that'd be...
I mean, that's the goal. I mean,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
eventually you'd like to get there, but man, the thing is like, I enjoy throwing these shows, but at the same time, I got 2 bands I got to play with too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you talk about spreading your ass shit thin, you know, that's prison toilet paper thin at that point. But I'm fucking bound and determined to make it happen.
And if you use that, by using that determination and using the understanding of the capacity that you're going to be able to do this with, and going through with your lawyer, like making sure, okay, what can we do? What can we not do? You're already thinking ahead of this stuff, and you're already making those like preparations so that when you get to the point where you're ready to start really working on this, when it comes to Jimfest 3, the outdoor version of Jimfest, you will have an idea in place. You have these things already in motion so that you can start making those decisions and start making those things happen right then and there. You're not trying to figure them out on the spot.
Correct. Yeah. And I think that was a huge pitfall of what we experienced at the big festival. You know, I think Homeboy got overwhelmed, and which is understandable because nobody has done what he did. He brought locals, regionals, and nationals to one place. The problem is that traffic was a huge issue, and of course all the stuff that you guys went through on the camping side and all that stuff. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that festival were a success in my opinion. But I didn't get to see it from the other side because we had artist access on our side because we were coming through the back the whole time.
We was bougie.
Yeah. But, you know, as far as doing this, like, if we're going to do this as an outdoor festival thing, I'm trying to keep it local and regional. You know, I mean, I don't want to go beyond that. I would never throw a national on private property ever because, holy shit, you talk about the red tape,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the liability alone. You know, the policies that I'm looking at taking out are going to be like $500 life insurance policies as far as like well-being policies.
Mm-hmm.
This is all the stuff that you have to have planned and signed months in advance because, you know, even though it's private property, if somebody gets hurt, you want them to be taken care of. You want quick medical aid. So, you know, you reach out to either a volunteer fire department or you go straight through the county. Well, Trenton, you know, we would have to go directly to whoever represents them as a county and say, okay, what would be better? Can I get 2 people with an ambulance out here and pay them $400 if they're a volunteer? Or do I need to go and file paperwork through the county in order to get that aid there? Because you want to have that aid ready. You don't want to be calling 911 in the middle of a field with no reception going, hey, you know, Taco broke his ankle in a Lamb of God pit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are all things
That's a
that I'm
real
taking
thing.
into consideration.
Yeah, but by taking them into consideration now and you're understanding what has to be done, what has to be completed. And again, one thing I think is a huge thing is the fact that you're trying to keep this local and regional so that you can have it on private property. You can make it so it's kind of as easy as possible for you to put together exactly the way that you want to have this thing put together. And even using the pitfalls of the festival that we met at, it's just a lot of the things that went right for that one, especially the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and even Thursday was just how the fans were treating each other and how the bands were a part of it and how it was just everyone was just looking out for each other in that aspect. if you're able to really work within that community vibe of the fans and also bring the bands into that as well, when it comes to being on the organizer side that you would be on this part, Chris, it's going to make your job even easier to put something like this together. Sure, it's still going to be a lot of hard work. There's going to be a lot still to go into it. But if you're able to create an environment where everyone is getting along, where everyone feels safe, and in like, especially for the people that are going to be at the shows in the pit, all of a sudden, you know, if someone gets hurt, of course, we're going to look out for each other, but to get people the attention they need right away, I mean, you're going to end up having it set up to be a massive success at that point.
Yeah, I feel like with us all being in this scene and just being around all the people that do this stuff, we've learned a whole lot of how to do and not do a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Brewstock that Nestor did out in South Carolina, I believe is where he went and played that with. I was with To Begin Anew when I played that show. Nestor ran that shit flawlessly. And I walked up to him and I told him, I said, the way you ran this is how that other festival should have been ran. And you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you talk about accommodations. They had tents set up. It was at a brewery. It was open fields. They had the stage set up, the rigging set up. I took notes from all that shit, man, because it was done the right way. There was no question of the parking. There was no security. There was help, but no security. And that's where we got very fortunate on Jimfest 1 is I told everybody walking through the door, police yourselves because nobody's going to police you. So if you go in there and you get shit-faced and you act like a jackass, you're going to get drugged and you will get drugged the fuck out of here. Never had a problem. Jimfest 2 will be a little bit easier because we'll have security, but a lot of the people that roll with the local and regional crowd, they don't really stir shit up anyway. And the bands that do, they're not on the bill.
That's correct.
So, you're taking all the necessary precautions to make sure that you create that whole entire environment where it's going to be, people are going to go see those shows. People are going to end up enjoying them as much as possible. The pits are going to be absolutely insane and crazy, but people are going to end up looking out for each other because when it comes to rock and metal, we are just one big, gigantic family, and we're going to treat it as such.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, but when it happens.
Well, shit, I'm looking forward to the fact that when I'm able to actually come out and see Jimfest, whether it's Jimfest 2 or Jimfest 3, the outdoor version of Jimfest. I feel like I got to add that caveat on there because it's just fun to say. Jimfest 3, the outdoor version of Jimfest.
Well, we would definitely like you at the Jimfest 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes!
Yeah. Dude, we ought to get him do a little monologue of that. Because his voice sounds really good giving that presentation, dude.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What have I done?
You've done something incredible, sir. That is what you have done. Well, guys, as we've kind of hit the hour and a half mark already, I love talking to you guys every bit about, especially with how you guys end up working within the pandemic, the whole entire North Carolina rock or metal page, and how you help to grow off of that with some of the crazy stuff you've done, along with just all the Jimfest stuff and that story, man. My God.
Hopefully that one's up there with the Wake and Terra Piss Cup story.
That is up there with the Piss Cup story. That is also up there with the guys in Spirit Breaker shitting themselves in the middle of a highway meeting in Iowa. That's up there with, I believe it was Seven Stone Riot with chloroforming their lead singer, dragging him to a beach in Florida, burying him halfway in the sand to make it look like his legs got bitten off by a shark. Like, that piss story is up there. That piss story is right there with them.
Hey, they didn't have to chloroform me, and I got buried completely alive.
Oh, yeah, that's a celebrity. We buried George.
Yeah, I was legit buried all the way under the sand. I will tell you, it's a very humbling experience.
It felt like Step Brothers. What are you doing? I'm burying you.
You're waking the neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, when we did that video shoot, there were people on boats.
Coming
Yeah, they look very concerned.
I'm sitting there digging a grave in the sand.
And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, get in. Wait, what? Yeah, just get in. Okay, and then all of a sudden they're burying him back in these boats. Like, what are you doing? It's like, it's for a music video, damn it.
And it made
not his face.
It made the music video director very uncomfortable.
It did.
He didn't want my face to be under the dirt, and I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck.
I had to film George saying that it was okay to do it for liability issues. It was pretty wild, but that's what we do, man.
I was like, dude, between like bodyboarding and being a vocalist, like I can hold my breath, like fucking throw the sand on me, bro.
We had to carry his fat ass too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch the video when we're carrying that bag,
None of my
he's in
idea.
it.
Not my idea.
Yeah, that sucked ass.
Yeah, that made burying him so much more sweet.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Brian,
Yeah, you threw a fucking like a rock like this big with a shovel. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't catch a shovel. Brian was fucking over it that day.
The funny thing was, immediately though, you were like, Brian! You like pitching at Brian. I was like, sorry, I didn't know. Fucking boulder.
I mean, that would definitely make burying you sweet. But like, even what Chris had just said, kind of relating back to Jimfest as well, it's, making sure, had you on video for liability purposes when it comes to Jimfest, when it comes to putting it together. I mean, it's going to be something where that North Carolina scene I talked about right at the beginning, where it's one of the best local scenes I have seen and heard of, because I'm starting to know a lot more of like a bunch of different like local pockets around the United States. I always hear about that North Carolina one, the Eastern North Carolina scene. I always hear about it, even when it's like not even brought up in conference. Like, oh, it's like, what's a good scene? It's that one. I'm thinking, I know that one. Right the fuck on.
That's right,
Hell yeah.
It means the world to us because, 2 years ago I set on a mission to break up the stigma that came with being in a band, and that competition bullshit and that anti-camaraderie shit. Like, I loan gear out, I loan my vehicles out, like whatever it takes to make a show happen. I'm usually that guy. I've got multiple guitars, multiple amps, multiple vehicles, so if I have it to use, I would like it for, if another band needs it to use it. I mean, we've shared cabs at several shows, heads at several shows, stuff like that, just to keep shit rolling. That's the way it should have always been, because 3 years ago I watched a band play. The guitarist broke a string. He said, hey, does anybody have a guitar tuned to C? And when he broke that string, nobody had a guitar they would let him use. And he's like, well, that's our set. Good night. And they were 38 seconds into their first fucking song.
Oh, I was thinking about something else. I thought you were going to tell another story.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, that's not the way it should. Had I been playing that night, I would have handed him one of my guitars.
I know exactly which one you're thinking of.
So, but yeah, I mean,
Shut the fuck up, I'm tuning. That's for another podcast.
We'll talk about that later.
That'll be the story we save for the second podcast with Death Row. But as we bring this one to a close, I mean, the camaraderie that you guys have helped build in this local community for the North Carolina scene with rock and metal, breaking that band stigma, breaking that like whole entire competition, kind of just everyone against each other, but bringing in more of this family vibe, this camaraderie vibe, the growth of that scene, how everyone supports each other, and on top of that, Jimfest. I mean, come on. That scene is just really growing, and you guys are a major part of it. Chris, you're a major part of it. All four of you guys are, and all the other bands that are a part of it as well. It's such a great thing to see, and it needs to be put on display for people to see and really get into, and we got Jimfest for it now, and I cannot wait to actually be down there, hopefully for number 2, but if not for number 2, for number 3, the outdoor version.
well, when we get number 3 rolling, if you miss number 2, I'll have a spot ready for you for number 3 for sure. Because number 3 is happening. Like I said, it's just a matter of getting through all the legal bullshit and everything that comes with that. I want to make sure, like I said, just going back to old stuff, I want to make sure everything's covered before we even proceed with it. But I am speaking it into existence, because the more I talk about it, the more amped I'm getting on it. But the thing is, the thing I want to shout out over anything is all the bands that have been involved in it, the first one, the second one, and the ones to come. Thank all of you. I thank my brothers in the beginning new, and these guys here. If it wasn't for these 3 guys, there would be no Chris Jim Vance. Nobody would know who the fuck I am. Seriously. I mean, if it wasn't for the family that I have in this fucking room right now, I would be playing guitar alone at my fucking house. And I'd probably be content with that. But they won't allow it. So by them not allowing it keeps everything rolling.
That's actually his dream. We keep dragging them to these fucking places.
You keep dragging to these places, you keep bringing him out, and all of a sudden now he's got a whole festival thing going, Jimfest. It just keeps going. I mean,
I can't
Low
stay
key
idle.
going, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I can't stay idle, man. If we're gonna do it, we got to go all the way. We can't half-ass it.
Yeah.
just keep
Definitely.
going balls to the wall. So as we bring this one to a
Whole
close,
ass.
guys, one thing I would like to do is give you guys a chance to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever you want to promote at the end of the podcast. So, guys, the floor is yours.
We are Death of Uriah from Jacksonville, North Carolina. Follow us on all streaming services. Don't buy our album, steal it. Go on Spotify, listen to it for free. If you want a physical copy, that's fine. Come get one at a show. Jimfest 2, January 21st and 22nd. $5 gets you in, and everything that you donate to that show goes directly to the bands. So not only are you getting to see a kick-ass show, but you're getting to see new bands and you're helping new bands. If you see bands, buy their merch. That helps them too. That covers gas, that covers expenses, hotels, you name it. Shout out to you for having us on here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Huge thanks, man.
Yeah. And we're going to pump everything we can.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. So now it's time for me to end this podcast with 3 separate things. First things first, when it comes to finding Death Uriah online, when it comes to finding them on all the social media accounts, when it comes to watching that video of them, of course, dragging George and just burying him alive, because you're going to want to see that, of course. And when it comes to streaming music, downloading music, buying their music, and checking out where you can find merch and everything you know about Jimfest, you're going to want to search up, you're going to want to follow along with these guys. But instead of having to look it up yourself, I'm going to take care of all the legwork for you. Don't worry, look at the description of the podcast. You're going to see that says Find Death Uriah online. Links, labels, everything you know. All you have to do is click the link, and it'll take you right there to hit that follow button, subscribe button, the play button, the download button, whatever button you're going to end up being into. And, of course, go check out Jimfest, because either I'll be there for the second one or the third one, maybe both, hopefully both, but we'll see what all ends up happening. So, guys, now it's time for number 2. And, Chris, you know about how number 2 goes, but whenever I'm guesting the podcast I've enjoyed having on, such as you guys, such as yourselves, I like to make a certain promise as a thank you for being on the podcast, but also because, I need to make sure this happens. So my promise is not an if. If implies possibility of not happening. The promise is when. It implies it will happen. Date right now to be determined. So when I get to you guys perform live for the first time, my promise to you guys is this. First round's on me.
Oh, right on.
Oh, yeah, brother.
I don't drink, but they all do. So
I'll take his.
yeah.
All I know is with all the bands you're having at Jimfest, all the ones that I'm going to end up owing drinks to, I'm going to need to bring a shit ton of money because there's a lot of first rounds that I owe.
Yeah, Jimfest, you'll be a target for that promise there. Holy shit, man.
I'll be one. I won't
go.
I won't go 5 feet before the guys in Waking Terror will probably pick me up, be like, we're picking up our first round for this one, and be like, okay, here we go.
What we'll do is we'll just buy a bottle and set it off to the side and be like, okay, dude, you can just go ahead and get your shot right now.
Get your pull.
Just have a backpack full of stuff. It's alrighty, what do you want? I'm starting making drinks in my backpack. Just okay, here we go. It's what is this?
Bring liquor in a camel pack.
Yeah.
I would have to do that. So, guys, as I close this podcast, goodbye is not the way we're ending it, because I want to see you guys from live. I'd love to have you back in the podcast again, and Jimfest is going to happen one way or another with me seeing it, whether the second iteration, the Electric Boogaloo iteration, or the outdoor version of it. So, George, Chris, Matt, Brian, not end this with goodbye. Hell no. We're going to end it with my favorite thing. See you later.
Later,
brother.
Ooh, well, folks, this is my interview with the guys from Death Uriah. Once again, when you're trying to find Death Uriah on social media, online, anywhere, when it comes to following along with them, streaming their music, buying some merch, whatever it might be, checking out Jimfest. It's one thing you're going to want to do. Please go to the description of the podcast. You're going to find links, labels, everything you're going to need is going to be right there for you. So thank you guys for being on the podcast once again. And I've got you covered on there. Please remember to follow the Chord Progression Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up with all our crazy content, including live streams every single Wednesday on Instagram, all the crazy memes we post, and of course, anything updated with the Chord Progression Podcast. I want to thank you for subscribing to the Chord Progression Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and Amazon as well. Also, thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel where you can watch these interviews, because that's always, a fun way to go about it. On top of that, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, why not give it a shot? I mean, it's fun as all hell. Let's keep it happening. Let's keep it rolling. I absolutely love doing these. Thank you, Custom Views, and thank you, Phoenix Fitness, for sponsoring this podcast. Death Uriah, you're going to be back on the podcast once again. Even on top of that, I can't wait to go out to Jimfest, either Jimfest 2 Electric Boogaloo or Jimfest 3, the outdoor version of Jimfest. It's going to happen. You guys are going to see me out there in every single North Carolina band that I owe a first round to. I'm going to be bringing cash, and I'm going to be paying up on that debt. So on that note, that's going to be for you guys. Thank you for watching the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end everything. Big, healthy, and hearty. See you!